I was joking my whole pregnancy that I was gonna push for only like 2 pushes and he was gonna come out. That definitely didn't happen. I pushed for an hour, but it was because it was my fault. I thought you didn't have to push as hard as you have to push a baby out. My abs were so sore after.
Would you say you would do unmedicated again?
Absolutely. Definitely. I don't want to yet. Latching is no joke. It was not fun. My boobs were raw. My bra was sticking to my boob, and my poor husband was watching. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm in pain. Like, it hurts."
I was an undersupplier, obviously, and so it's like, it sucks. But then it's not that it's easy when you're an oversupplier, because then it still sucks, because now you're feeding your baby, but you also have to constantly have to pump at a certain time, otherwise you're in pain.
Mastitis is awful. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
Hi mama, you're doing amazing. I know the challenges of navigating through postpartum life, and I'm here to be a village in a world where the village is often missing. My name is Elo, and I'm the host of New Mom in Town, the Postpartum podcast. In today's episode, we'll learn about the reality and struggles of being an oversupplier. We'll help you how to not pee when you sneeze and how to navigate through the roommate phase. I'm so happy that you're here. Many don't know, but you are my first mom friend and my first village. Aww. So it's so special for me to have you here and for you to be able to share your story and your insights with all the other moms that are listening right now, because you've been a tremendous help for me up to this day.
I'm so happy. It's so much fun, and it doesn't even feel like, it just feels like we're friends hanging out. Like, I understand, and I love that you say I help you, but it's awesome just having another friend that I can like guide through the whole journey of motherhood as much as I can, even though all of our journeys are different.
Absolutely, I love that. Why don't we start off with your birth story, because I've been dying to hear it.
I could talk about it all day long.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting it to be as quick as it was. I think acupuncture really helped that, because I did acupuncture leading up to it. And I was prepared to go the long haul. First time mom, you think you're gonna go over 40 weeks, you think your labor is gonna be forever, but he came at 38 weeks on the dot, like day of 38 weeks. I had my first contraction that like jumped me out of bed at like 1:45 in the morning.
Wow, and you went totally unmedicated at a birthing center.
Yes, thankfully everything went really well, and I was able to have him in water and exactly what I wanted. It was really truly a very empowering experience, and I feel like it started off my journey to motherhood really well. But 1:45 in the morning, it jumped me out of bed. I woke up my husband and I'm like, we're having a baby today. Because normally, I could have been in labor for so much longer, but for some reason, I'm like, we're having a baby today. So I jumped him out of bed, told him he's not going to work, and then I'm trying to remember. I couldn't sit still. I could not sit still. I literally had to move around the house. I just constantly said, I was like, I'm gonna try and go back to sleep. But every contraction, I was like, I'm not, I can't.
That's the thing. I remember in like birthing class, they're like, oh, try to sleep the first few centimeters. I'm like, how do you sleep through this?
Yeah, they're like, oh, relax a little bit. And I was like, again, prepared to go the long haul. I thought it was going to take a lot longer. So I'm like, I'm going to chill. I watched SpongeBob, tried to lay in bed. No, I was on the yoga ball. I took a bath. I walked around my island. Like, I was doing all of the things, and I just could not sit still. I didn't want to hear anyone. I didn't want to the only thing, I was playing like some music, and I tried to listen to like a podcast and like a guided meditation, and the voice was annoying me, and I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
I'm so happy to hear that, because I was the same way. I was like, take that shit away from here. I do not want to hear that shit. I just want to hear Jack Johnson, and I don't want to hear anything else.
I was playing like a frequency, and that was the only thing that it was like, okay, but I could not stand the sound of someone else's voice. Like, it was so weird, but because I had my AirPods in, and could not do it. But I was joking my whole pregnancy that I was gonna push for only like 2 pushes and he was gonna come out. That definitely didn't happen. I pushed for an hour, but it was because it was my fault. I thought you didn't have to push as hard as you have to push a baby out. I was not prepared for that part of it, and my abs were so sore after, but I got them out, but that pushing is no joke.
So do you think the pushing part and the ring of fire that they say, is that worse than the contractions?
I feel like it's very different. So the Ring of Fire itself, I feel, is very intense. Some people would say pain. I try to use the word intense because I've tried to not let pain be a thing because it's very much a mental game. But that was very intense, and I remember saying, like, while I was in labor, like, this is very intense. Pushing was hard because I think, like, especially the last few pushes, he had a little bit of a sticky shoulder, so those last few pushes I felt were so much more my abs that I felt than anything, because you really have to bear down and just get that baby out, especially when your midwife is saying, all right, let's push him out. I'm like, okay. And your abs, it was no joke. That was, I think, what surprised me more than anything. But yeah, it was no joke.
Did you poop or did you not?
No, I didn't. I did the whole morning. Up until then, like, the whole time I was at home, I was on the toilet, like, just clearing it all out, which I was really happy about because my husband was behind me. So I was like, I really hope you don't get, like, my butt is already in your face. Like, I really hope that just is the only thing that is in your face right now. Luckily, I didn't. So I was very thankful about that. I think I remember asking him, I'm like, did I poop? He's like, no, you're good. But I told them the whole time, I'm like, I really feel like I gotta take a shit right now. And they're like, good, cool. You're pretty much you're just a really big one, but just the baby. But no, I luckily didn't do that, and I was very thankful that I didn't.
Would you say you would do unmedicated again?
Absolutely. Definitely. I don't want to yet. I went through it and I'm good and I'm raising the baby right now, but when it comes down to it, the type of, like, mental preparing that I did for it and how my recovery process was and how good I felt after, I don't regret it at all. And also too, I'm someone who kind of likes a challenge, so I think that that's fun because I loved the sense, most of anything, I like the sense of accomplishment that I had after. I know not everyone has that kind of experience, but I feel like even with that, you should still feel accomplished in whichever way that it ends up. But I was very thankful that it went the way that I wanted it to. I'm very lucky, and I'm very thankful that it went that way.
Oh, you're blessed.
Absolutely, 100% blessed, because not everyone gets to have that, unfortunately, which I want to empower women to at least try that. Obviously, if medical history and all of that stuff doesn't comply with that, then that's something different, but you can do it. It's absolutely possible. You just it's more mental than anything, which sounds annoying to say, but it really is.
It's 100% true.
Absolutely.
I always say, I think the birthing and breastfeeding, a lot can be breastfeeding, of course, it also depends on you, but it can be mental as well.
It's huge mentally. Absolutely. The whole motherhood journey is just mental. You have to. That's the whole. Yes. That's the whole thing.
Yes.
But no, it's definitely, if you set your mind out to do it, and obviously without medical complications or anything like that, it's possible, and you need to know that you can do it and not let anyone tell you different. I had a lot of people telling me, oh, the second those contractions start, you're not going to want to do it, or the second you're going to be begging for the epidural. And now it's, like, nice because I can go, fuck you.
Right.
Like, I did do it. Like, I did it, and no one got me out of it. I did it myself. No one helped me. I luckily had my husband as a support person, and my friends and my midwives and all of that, but they didn't push him out. I did. Like, no one else did it but me.
You did the work.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, since you did it at a birthing center, I know they don't really have a lot of interventions and things. It's more like just chill.
It was really nice. It felt like I was just hanging out with them for the most part. Like, they coached me when I needed it and reminded me, like, hey, take a few deep breaths, get oxygen to your baby. Especially those words, bring oxygen to your baby. I'm like, oh, that's a purpose. I need to breathe. Like, so then I focus on breathing. They would check his heart rate, reassure me that he sounded really good. They would check my blood pressure, check everything, which is nice because you're still monitored and you're still taken care of, and they're watching me like a hawk the whole time, but I don't feel like I am. Like, they're definitely prepared and silent and watching, but it's also nice because I was able to, like, they were minding their own business, and I could just go into my little cave and focus and get out. And it's so helpful versus a bunch of lights and a bunch of interventions and a bunch of people telling you what to do or how to do something. So it's nice not having that.
Good. I'm so glad.
Yeah, it was really nice.
That's beautiful. And then were you able to, for any new moms out there, did you have colostrum, or like did it come out right away? For me, when it first happened, they put him down. I was like, I'm not gonna have anything, and all of a sudden I see something come out of my boobs. I'm like, whoa.
It's weird. So it's so weird. I started, I think, leaking at like 14 weeks pregnant. And I never expressed or anything like that because obviously you don't want to induce anything.
Right.
But surprisingly, he didn't want to nurse when I think he was really sleepy. He came really fast, so I think it kind of took a lot out of him. But he didn't really want to nurse at the birth center. He would kind of latch once we got home a little bit, but I ended up getting some donated breast milk from them, and we just syringe fed for a little bit. And then the next day my midwife helped me with my latch.
So that's something new. Like I have not heard of that.
Yeah.
So you can syringe feed
your
baby.
We just did like, because their stomachs are so small, they don't need that much, but he wasn't really latching. We were trying at home I would try that first, and if he didn't, then I would go into using a syringe, and then he would just eat it like a little puppy. So cute. But then the next day it was really nice and really helpful. My midwife helped me with my latch, and then it was at least started, and I could figure out like how to get him on and kind of position myself a little better, and that he got a good feed out of it. So then he knew like, okay, this is how I breastfeed, because they have to learn. Like people, yes, it is natural in nature, but you also have to learn. It's still a learned skill, practice, whatever you want to call it. You have to practice it. You have to just keep doing it. But he didn't want to do it at first, but it worked out really well. Yeah.
See, so that's also really good insight for any moms out there, and new moms, or because it could happen. That's wild.
Yeah, and so I was also panicking because not only did I want an unmedicated birth, I really wanted to breastfeed. My mom breastfed me for a long time. Like it was something that I knew I wanted to do, and mentally tough, want to set my mind out to do it. So I was kind of freaking out a little bit. I'm like, what do you mean he didn't latch right after birth? I had a perfect birth. Like that's how this is supposed to go. But again, it tests your mental toughness of like making sure he latches and constantly latching and constantly
being calm.
And just be persevering through that, because also too, your boobs are hurting, your nipples hurt, they're raw, they're not, especially when you're figuring it out, like awful.
Yeah, I think the first 10 days.
Yeah.
Like I think are the worst on the nipples.
Yes, absolutely.
If I didn't have you and one other mom telling me just don't give up yet, I would have given up, because that was too painful for me. Even for my husband to watch me be in pain was like wild.
Latching is no joke. It was my fault too a little bit, because he was kind of climbing up instead of like mouth wide open, bring him on. So that was my kind of my fault. I had my midwives help me and stuff like that once I realized, but like the first month, it was not fun. My boobs were raw. My bra was sticking to my boob, and my poor husband was watching. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm in pain. Like it hurts." And I would have to have like nobody talking to me, no dogs in the room, no TV on. Like it would have to be silent while I would try and latch. Like nobody could interrupt my focus. And then it would just like, you latch and it's like excruciating for a second, and then you're like, okay. I literally would go, fish on. It was awful.
Yes.
But it's the whole time, especially the middle of the night feeds, because you're alone, awake, and it's exhausting, and you're like, now I have to put myself through all of this pain. And then I just would be like, okay, I have to keep going. It'll be worth it. My mom was helpful with that too. She's like, it's worth it. It'll get better. And it does. It 100% does. And then it's fun. And then you get to have that bond and relax with your baby and those snuggles. Like it gets so much better. But the first month was no joke. Absolutely no joke.
Absolutely. And so, fun fact, you are an oversupplier, and you donated your breast milk. That was our first mom that donated breast milk to us, which is funny that you telling me the story that you got some too. So that's beautiful. That's a beautiful little circle. So tell me about that.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to start donating. I kind of had the idea about donating if I did have an oversupply. I didn't really understand or have the perspective on undersupplying until recently, and realizing like, I'm getting a lot more milk than average even. I'm gonna at least, why not give back to moms that might need it? Because also too, I feel like for the moms that do want to breastfeed versus formula, that's how you get milk. If you want to do something, you get it donated. And luckily I was able to do that, and I'm so thankful I was able to do it, and then also meet you through that. But I didn't realize like I was an oversupplier really, and then I was starting to pump like 4 or 5 ounces like each pump. And I didn't even really pump that often because normally he would just get it straight from the tap, and I'm luckily able to stay home with him, so I didn't really have to give him a bottle. So I would just pump like a couple times a day, and I was getting a lot of milk. So then I'd just bag it, and I'm like, okay, now I have like 6 bags in my freezer, like my fridge is overflowing, like I gotta get rid of this stuff. And then I'm like, what better? I would do a hospital, but I'd much rather do my birth center, because I'm like, there's a lot of like-minded people there, so I'm like, I might as well do that. And I'm very grateful that I was able to help other babies, help other moms, because also too, it's like breast milk, it's amazing. So it's nice being able to ease that mind so that if moms don't want to do formula, they can have that immediately and it'd be a good source. They have like, they've tested it, everything like that. So it's nice being able to do that. It's very, very, very rewarding.
Absolutely. I mean, we keep you in our prayers every night, and we'll continue to, because we'll always remember you guys.
No, it's so fun too, and it's nice like seeing other babies that I know I fed versus just my own.
Yeah.
Like I love that I grew my own son and was able to keep him sustained and stuff like that, but being able to see other babies, it makes it even that much more rewarding, because pumping sucks. I don't think anyone really likes pumping. So it's really like, it's nice being able to see that pay off when you're sitting there pumping, like, oh my God, I gotta sit here and hook up this pump again. Like even when I had to do it just because my boobs would get full, but it's nice being able to sit there. I'm like, it's going to so many other babies that need it, and then they'll get nice and chunky and fat too from it.
So sweet. So that's the thing. Like, there's always, I was an undersupplier, obviously, and so it's like, it sucks. But then it's not that it's easy when you're an oversupplier, because then it still sucks, because now you're feeding your baby, but you also have to constantly have to pump at a certain time, otherwise you're in pain.
Mastitis is awful. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It was awful. My husband, he's like, I've never seen you so sick and like looked like you feel so bad than when you had mastitis. Absolutely. Like I've got on antibiotics luckily, and I realized I've learned it's not something you want to combat with heat. You want to combat with ice, because it's inflammation. So I was icing, I was trying to do that, and that was one day of wearing a tight bra and missing a morning pump. One day. I had not had mastitis. I was 2 months postpartum. I had not had mastitis that entire time, but I wore too tight of a bra apparently, and I didn't pump for one day. Or one pump session I missed.
Wow.
And I only pumped like 2 or 3 times a day at that time, like because my baby was eating constantly, so I didn't really need to. It was awful.
See, so it's like a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Either way, it doesn't matter if you're just an enougher, undersupplier, oversupplier. As a mother, even if you're not breastfeeding at all, so this is not to shame any other mom.
Never.
Just feeding and going through all of these different things as a mom is rough. And I don't think people or people truly understand that until you have somebody that's going through it, or you're going through it, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because no one understands motherhood truly until you go through it. Like I thought I did. I'd been around babies forever. Babies were my thing. Like I totally was like, oh, motherhood's not going to be a cakewalk, but I got it. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, no, this is 24 hours a day, constantly. Like as rewarding as it is very taxing. And then no matter what your journey is, everyone's journey is different, whether again, like breastfeeding, you're an oversupplier, undersupplier, there's challenges in each stage. Formula feeding, a huge challenge in that because expenses, it's so expensive and overpriced and pushed.
That,
it's
and then
awful.
It takes sometimes 5 to 6 different formulas to find the right one for your baby. So there's a lot that goes with that too.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
Challenging no matter what to keep your baby fed.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people like forget that no matter what stage it is, it's challenging, and then it's like, well, no, you should be doing this. No, you should be doing this. It's like, no, do what works for you. Like you don't know what that house looks like inside. You don't know what their family looks like, how their baby acts. So if your gut is telling you to do this thing and this thing, do it. If it's not working, let's try something else. Like everyone's different.
Exactly. Do you think you dealt with any postpartum anxiety or depression at all?
Oh yeah, and you don't realize it till you come out of it. So I was extremely anxious. I already kind of struggled with anxiety beforehand. I thought I had a manage on it, and then you have the best thing ever that comes into your life, and you have to keep it alive. and it feels like everything else is trying to take it from you. Even just driving in an intersection at the car, like a car intersection, terrifying. First few months of his life, absolutely white knuckling the steering wheel because I thought someone would come and hit us. Like, or waking up a bunch of times in the middle of the night, whether he slept through the night or not. Like if he's sleeping through the night, is he awake? Is he okay? Is he alive? Is he breathing? Like constantly checking, is he breathing? Is he breathing okay? Is he breathing normally? Like just the endless cycle, or like sitting there holding him. What if I drop him? It's like, I'm not gonna drop my baby.
Intrusive thoughts.
They're wild. They're like to make you feel crazy, I feel like. Because you'd think that, again, you have everything you've ever wanted, but then you're sitting there like, what if someone comes to take it away? It's like, no one's coming to take it away. I wouldn't go out by myself. Like I still kind of don't because this world is scary, but I wouldn't go out. Like I would, because then he also hated the car. So then the car makes it worse because he's sitting there crying and then you can't get to him. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm a horrible mom. My baby's crying and I can't get to him. So it's wild how your brain like will trick you. And then I realized too, once I was deficient in certain vitamins, because once I started taking those vitamins, it helped my anxieties. And I know now if I don't take specific vitamins for myself, everyone's different, but if I don't take specific vitamins, my anxiety will get worse.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I don't take like my magnesium, my B12, or like my iron supplements and stuff, I'll feel my anxiety kind of come back and I'm like, okay, what is this? And then I'm like, oh, I haven't taken my vitamins in a couple days. Like, I need to take my vitamins. And then, not that I'm completely cured and everything's fine, but I've noticed it's a lot more mellow. And I'm not, and also too, he's older, so I feel like it's a little bit, but those first like 4 months, oh my God, he did not leave my sight. Could not do it.
I get it.
It's so weird. It's very weird how your brain tricks you like that.
That's the thing, like the intrusive thoughts. Like for me, it was even hard to just let the hubby be with him while I shower. I'm like, why is he crying? Something is going on.
Or you think he's crying and
right,
he's not.
And he's not.
And
the phantom cries.
You run out, like towel everything,
Yeah.
boobs out, and you're like, he was crying, right? No, he's been asleep this whole time. It's like, oh, I'm the crazy one. Like he wasn't crying. Like he's fine. Yeah, no, my husband has never given me an inkling to like not leave my baby with him. I'm just the one who's like, what if this, what if this, what if this? Now I've gotten a lot better and you realize you can do it, but it's definitely crazy because it's like I can't leave him. What if, just even a simple thing of like, what if he cries for me and I'm not there? Then I'm a horrible mother and I left my baby.
Yeah.
No, he'll be okay. Like he might cry for you and then daddy's got him and it'll be okay. Like he can rely just as much on his dad. And luckily too, my husband kind of was like, babe, I'm like, it's good. Like he's okay. Like go do things you want. Like go shower, go out with your friends, go ride your horse. Even just riding my horses, I'm like, I can't leave him. And I don't think I started riding until I was like 6-7 months postpartum. And that even just like that tether trying to pull away just to go out for an hour. I'm like, he's like, we had a great time while you were gone. I'm like, oh, he wasn't crying for me? No. He knows you're coming back. Like you come back every time. Like it's okay. And it's wild how your brain does that. But luckily Tony was like, babe, just go. Like, and he showed me it's fine. And then it gets easier the more and more you do it. Even though you still race home, it gets easier and easier.
But feeling that way is also normal. And it just feel like at first I thought I was a nutcase.
Yeah.
I still think I am. And then like little by little, I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm not that crazy. It's just like I can't even control it.
Oh yeah. It's just it's mother nature. Like there's a reason we carry and birth our babies. Like, and the reason that there's a bond with all of your babies is like they're meant to be that attached to you. Especially too, I feel like society is so like trying to force moms away from their babies, especially like with maternity leave and how moms have to go back to work right away, stuff like that. They want that separation when really babies are meant to be with their mothers, especially at least the first year, in my opinion. It's just that's what the bond is. Like that's what the whole point of motherhood is. You can't replace a mom. Like you can't replace the mom to their baby. You can never replace that. So it's just hard to, in a society that wants you to be away from your baby, because then you feel that pressure of like, my baby needs to be away from me. It's like, no, they don't. They need to rely on you. That's what you're there for. That's your job. And you have to learn to somewhat surrender to that too.
That's very true. I love that. That's very beautifully said. Because sometimes you can get tired of whether it's cluster feeding or just like being with your baby 24/7 and you love them, but you're just exhausted, overstimulated. But then I remind myself like, okay, I'm never going to get this back. Tomorrow he's going to be bigger than what he is right now.
Absolutely.
So just like taking those times in, because their children for just such a short amount of time.
Absolutely. I feel like I remind myself that's what I signed up for. When you take especially I take being a mom extremely seriously, which I feel like everyone should hopefully. But that was someone I'm like, okay, this is a sacrifice I'm making because one day I won't have that. One day my husband and I will be empty nesters and it'll be just us two for the rest of our lives. Obviously just different. But you're never going to have these little squishy, cute babies that want everything to do with you.
Yes.
And yes, you miss your sense of individuality for a little bit, and it's hard, and it's challenging, and it's tiring, and it's exhausting, but it's also so rewarding the second you look in your baby's eyes and they look at you like you're the whole world. It's the best feeling ever. So it's like, okay, I'm sacrificing that a little bit, but then you get it back. Like he's a year old now. He can go do things with his dad, or I can go come here and film for a couple hours or stuff like that. It's nice being able to do that because he's now not cluster feeding every 20 minutes. But we went through that phase. I sacrificed during that phase, and now I'm out of it, and then I'm okay. And like, you get to be able to be your own person a little bit while also being a mom. It's just, you're even cooler. You have so many more capabilities.
That there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I feel like you're getting your pink back.
A little bit.
Little by little.
Little
and
by
I
little.
love that for you. It looks amazing on you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you.
So you look amazing. How are you dealing with your postpartum body?
So originally it was a little hard adjusting to, I've always been someone who's really tiny. I obviously still am. I feel like it's a little bit harder now for me to even maintain weight because of breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. So breastfeeding, all of those calories that are gone, all of those, like, just the constant toll that it takes on your body, it's hard for me to actually keep on weight, and you're constantly hungry. But what I wasn't prepared for was how weak I felt. I would go to like do a sit-up and I couldn't even do that, and that's never really ever been an issue for me. I ride horses, I have a very strong core. So, or like going to squat down to pick up my baby and I'm leaking a little bit. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Oh my gosh.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm 23 years, I was at the time 23 years old. Like, that's not happening. So luckily I reached out to our birth center, and they have amazing resources with pelvic floor therapy. Trafty was amazing there, and it's nice. It's stuff that you can do at home. So some women can find stuff on YouTube and stuff, but I personally liked having like a coach almost to tell me like, this feels right, but expand your rib cage a little bit here and like teach you different exercises to do that. And I haven't had an issue with leaking, nothing. Like, my core feels super strong, like diastasis recti, I think it is. So she taught me how to check for that myself, which is really fun.
That is cool.
And that's cool because you can like kind of see where you're at throughout. But I did like a 10-week program with her, or 10 session, it wasn't 10 week, but 10 session program with her. And I was able to feel so much stronger after and not leak, not worry about like, or even then, bladder control, like being able, obviously not leaking, but being able to hold my bladder for so much longer. I used to pee like every 30 minutes because you just have the urge to pee. But then all of a sudden now I can go hours, or I don't wake up in the middle of the night because I have to go pee again.
Good point. Sorry. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
That's why, because I was wondering, I'm like, okay, so I'm doing like exercises and this and that, and I'm like, how come like I'm drinking all this water and I don't wake up to go pee? That's what it was.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like and you don't have to have a vaginal birth to have a weak pelvic floor. You don't even have to have a baby to have a weak pelvic floor. Pelvic floor therapy, I feel like anyone can benefit from if they're suffering from like those kind of symptoms. But I was over it. I was not about it. It's not fun feeling like that, because you hear that, no offense, but you hear that from old women, that they're like, I pee every time, which also too, they don't have to be like that if they just strengthen their pelvic floor. Like, it's crazy. Like, and you think that that's just another version of what comes with motherhood, of like, oh, well, now I'm going to pee because I had babies. It's like, no, you just have to strengthen your pelvic floor. And that also too, it's no one's fault if they don't know that. We're not supplied with the resources. You kind of have to go find it for yourself, unfortunately. That's just kind of how the world works now. But it's nice being able to have those resources through my birth center, and then get the help, and then be able to feel better. And then I can suggest it to other people and be like, oh my God, I'm peeing every time I go to squat down and pick my baby. It's like, here, try this. And then you feel better, and you're body ends up contracting a little bit better, and your core is stronger. You can do things. You can sit up, do sit-ups. You can do other things. It's really nice.
That is very nice. So definitely you would say get pelvic floor therapy.
Absolutely, 100%. And if any like little symptoms of like you're peeing super frequently, you squat down and you pee a little bit, or like you just little dribbles, or you don't feel like you can really hold or contract. When you're sneezing, you don't have to cross your legs. Like there's little tips and tricks that they teach you that you won't ever have to worry about it again. And it's not something where you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze, like hold on, let me cross my legs, like let me go to the bath. Like no, you're able to just be like, all right, I just gotta sneeze. It's just a sneeze, or it's just a cough. Like it's not anything where you're having to worry about it anymore. It's super, super helpful.
That's awesome. So now that you are a postpartum doula, which I'm so happy about.
I'm so excited.
Like you're so good at it, so it makes sense
Yeah.
that you're a postpartum doula now. What do you look for the most? Like what are you most excited about?
Honestly, obviously it's going to be super exciting being able to see all the little newborns again. Like I love the newborn phase, but that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for the mom more than anything, and I always have known that I want to be in that field. I want to also get a labor doula certification because I love birth. But I have always just been drawn to it, but not knowing like kind of how to start. But then once having my baby, I'm like, oh, I know how to help people because I've been through there. Like obviously everyone's different, so what maybe worked for me might not work for that, but at least I know the options too, where I can let a mom not feel like she's alone. If in the middle of the night, I got you. We're here together. We're going to get through it. You need to talk and tell me like this freaking sucks. Yeah, right now it sucks. Like I get it completely, but it's not going to suck forever. Like in the morning, it'll be a lot better. Like you'll have your baby again and it'll be not up every 20 minutes. Like that's the worst, but it'll be nice being able to help mothers and be able to nurture them with, especially if they don't have family, or if they don't have friends that have been through it before, if they're all alone, or if they're a single mom. I just want to be an extra set of hands and someone that they can go to and vent and be like, this sucks. And I'm like, yeah, right now, you're right. It totally does. But it's not going to be like that forever. Like,
I love
it'll get
that.
better. I'm so excited.
I love that so much. So if you could go back and tell your 2-week postpartum self something, what would it be right now?
Probably two things. Probably, obviously, it gets better and it's not like this forever, and that you're going to be so capable of things that you didn't even think of. So, like working out while your baby sits in a little baby jail, like, or sits there in a little high chair or something while you can just get a 20-30 minute workout in, going and driving somewhere. Like that's just... that was one of the hardest things for me at the beginning. So it's knowing like you can do everything with a baby on your hip, or you could do everything that you still want to do with a baby. You're just that much more capable and cooler and like powerful because you're a mother. Like I think it's such a, even if it's something as simple, or not simple, something as like getting a degree or going and doing what you want to do, or going out of the house, like you're able to do it. And it's might not be super easy now, but one day it will be, and it'll all click and you can do it, and you can do it with a baby on your hip.
That's beautiful, and it's very true. That is something I learned once I became a mom. Like we just become stronger, even though we're way more stressed and we're worried about not just ourselves now, but also another human being. But I feel stronger.
Absolutely.
In the weirdest way. So that explains it.
It definitely gave me a lot more confidence in myself of being like, well, I can take care of a human while also taking care of myself. Or I can take care of a human and still go do the things I want to do. I can take care of a human and do whatever I want to fucking do.
And in general, I can take care of a human.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Wild.
Literally. I'm feeding the human, whether
Yeah.
it's with my own milk, with somebody else's milk, or formula.
Someone
doing
is
it.
Someone is 100% relying on you, and you're doing it, and you're thriving in it. And even if you don't feel like you're thriving in it, I promise you're thriving in it. Like as long as your baby's like healthy, happy, whatever, you're still thriving. Whether you don't feel like it, it absolutely, it's possible, which is really nice.
So I know we kind of already, you gave a lot of great tips, but I ask this every mom, what is one huge, maybe we can say now to parents, to be a mom, to be, what would be like a big tip that you would give them?
Oh, that's hard because there's so
How
many.
about we say, how about we change it up? relationship-wise?
Okay. Relationship-wise, don't keep score. Don't keep score. Well, I did this, I did this. Also, having a partner that you can set expectations with of being like, this is what I need. This is what I need from you. This is also someone who's just vigilant and watching you and your personality. If they notice like, you're not really happy today, not obviously don't say that to her, just don't do that. But like, do the dishes, do something to help, something to support, grab the baby so she can take a shower, just work. I liked saying not the roommate phase, but a teammate phase. You want it to be like your best coworker where you go into work and you're so thankful they're there. You want your marriage to be like that and your relationship to be like that. And the baby is not, it's not you versus them. It's you versus the baby.
I love that. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you have to, because if you sit there and dwell over every little thing, you're going to start resenting them, even if you have a very helpful partner, because no one really goes through it like the moms go through it. And it's just, they're two polar opposites, but you have to learn how to do it together so that you both realize you don't go crazy and you can move on together, and you're working as a team versus just constantly trying to keep score of who's doing what, if someone's doing more, someone's doing less, because that's not going to win any argument ever.
Very true. I love that so much. Well, I am so glad that I have you here and you're able to now also help so many other moms because you've helped me, like I said, tremendously. I will forever cherish you and love you and your whole family. And I hope this is going to bring so much more help to other moms.
I hope so.
And you're a postpartum doula, so you're going to be helping so many other moms.
I'm so excited. It's really like, I don't feel like it's going to be work. I just get to hang out with moms and make their days a little bit easier during the trenches. I'm not saying I thrived through the trenches because everyone goes through it differently, but I feel like I have an idea of what it is to help another mom go through it, so that they all have their own personal journeys, but that I can at least assist in it and try and take as much stress out of it.
I love that. Well,
I'm so thankful you had me.
Of course.
I'm so
Thanks so much. Me too. Thank you so much for joining me today and being part of this conversation. If you found this episode helpful or inspiring, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Your support truly helps other mamas find us. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and become part of our village so you never miss a new episode. We're all in this together. Until next time, mamas, take care and bye for now.